Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so what could be a more fitting topic for this video than the topic of love? Now everybody, or at least the people I associate with, have all had cartoon crushes as kids. Some were attracted to the sassy goth chicks, and some wanted to go for the more mature characters, and others had some serious questions to address. I myself am a fan of characters that rarely ever get portrayed in Western cartoons, Yanderes. Looking back at all of the cartoons I watched as a kid, I can't think of a full-on Yandere character, but today, we will be looking at a show that has the only Yandere character that I can remember, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Now, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on the show. Some love it and some others really seem to despise it. I'm on the side that loves this show. I love the concept. I love the characters, and to me, this was one of the many highlights of the mid-2000s Cartoon Network lineup. So, let's get into this episode that made me realize that I loved a certain character type that no other cartoon had shown me before. This is very scary. The episode begins with our main character, Blue, annoying his friends as they try to watch a romantic soap opera. While this would count as the episode's B-plot, it's not like it actually has any plot at all. These characters will just show up every now and again, reacting to the show as it collides with the events happening in the actual plot of the show. So you won't be seeing them very much in this video. The doorbell rings and we are introduced to the sweetest, most adorable little pink thing named Barry. After taking one look at Blue, Barry becomes immediately infatuated with him. While Barry seems sweet and nice to all of the other characters, we start to notice that Barry seems very territorial of Blue despite having just met him. Slowly and slowly, we see Barry become more obsessed over him, even to the point that she's able to fill out an entire photo album of them together, even though she's only been at the house for just a day. Things take a turn for the worst when Blue's creator and best friend, Mac, shows up. While you already know where this plot is going, what makes this so unique is the fact that there are some moments in this episode where Barry not only hints at her wanting to kill Mac, but she straight up attempts to kill him on multiple accounts. This might be a bad idea for me to do with how screwed up YouTube's copyright system is, but I'll just have to show you this scene from the episode.
I'm starting to get the feeling maybe you don't want me around.
Oh, don't be silly. You're Blue's best friend. I know Blue's feelings for me could only ever be a fraction of what they are for you. I mean, some might say you're really cutting into my time with Blue, just as I'm carving out a nice little niche for myself, but not for me. I'd never say that. Crispy Rice Square?
After seeing this, you can't possibly deny that Yanderes are the best. Mac and Blue spend some time trying to set world records, and Barry keeps setting them up to fail, and occasionally attempting to kill Mac along the way. Eventually, Mac has to go home, but gets back at Barry for telling her he'll be back tomorrow, and every other day from then on. This drives Barry even crazier than she was before. So Barry takes the most logical course of action and breaks into the men's bathroom to have a private talk with Blue. She tells him that Mac is the reason he keeps failing to set world records and that he should cut Mac loose from his life. Now, here's one reason that I've heard for why people hate this show. A lot of people just hate Blue. He's a very shallow character who's willing to throw his friend under the bus in order to get what he wants. I myself actually like Blue for what he is in the show. Blue has a very simple mind, but a good heart. He likes causing trouble in order to get attention, but he doesn't want to lose those people he loves. Imaginary friends are made from the creator's subconscious and will take on some aspects of the creator's personality. And since Mac made Blue when he was around 3 years old, it would just seem like Blue has the same thought process a 3-year-old would have. For that reason, I think Blue's a fine character, and seeing Blue's personality clash with a more mature Mac makes for an interesting dynamic between them. So, yeah, Blue decides to cut Mac loose from the world record thing, but only because Blue believes he can do it himself so that both of their names can be immortalized, not realizing how it was more about them trying to set the records together and less about actually achieving them. And when that depression starts setting in for Blue, Barry shows him the almost world's largest rubber band ball. She planned for both of them to put on the last rubber band together, but as they were about to put it on, Mac steps in and gives Barry a taste of her own medicine by cutting the rubber band. Mac pulls out a spare rubber band he brought, and both him and Blue put it on, strapping Barry to the ball. In a fit of rage, Barry tips over the rubber band ball, causing it to roll away from Foster's, and that was very scary. And yeah, I'd be lying if I said this was a highlight of the series. It was a fun idea and concept, but it wasn't as well executed as it could have been. There were some good jokes in this episode, but a lot of the humor fell flat, especially when they recycled the same joke set up over and over in this episode, which wasn't very funny the first time. The plot was okay, but it really could have used other main characters to have more of a role than just watching TV. As a kid, I was really into Barry's obsessive personality, but it wouldn't be till years later that I realized there was a name for that kind of personality. Looking back on it, that might be the only reason I still remember this episode, as everything else was rather subpar about it. I still recommend this show for everyone to watch. I have a lot of other episodes I would recommend watching first before this one. But before we end this video, I'd like to ask you viewers if you remember any Yandere characters from a Western cartoon you've watched. I've seen a lot of shows, but don't really remember any. So if you remember any, be sure to list them down in the comments below. Also, Helga from Hey Arnold does not count. Yes, she has some Yandere tendencies, but she is more of a tsundere than a Yandere. And if you don't know what a tsundere is, then maybe I'll do another video on that character type. After all, it is still the month of love, so let me know if you'd be interested in me covering that topic next, and be sure to subscribe to help support future content on this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.